You're listening to an Airwave Media podcast.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Neal and welcome to this beautiful disaster that we call a podcast. I'm here with Jeff and Ken and Matt. How is everyone?
Doing well. I like your descriptor of the show.
Well, we're all mixed up here. And
Neal's a big 311 fan, clearly.
Well, it was not a random reference. It was a homebrew reference for everyone here because we're all down to play trivia today because it is episode 311.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it is. You idiot.
So
what is going on?
We could have had lead singer of 311 Nick Hexum do the rules read, but I didn't think it was worth it for one episode.
We couldn't get him.
Yeah,
$311
next episode, Neal will be all about the local area code drops.
Well, hey, next episode's 312, so we have another reference that we can throw, so get ready for that one next week. But yeah, it's episode 311, which is pretty fun. And yeah, that was just a nice little 311 reference for anyone who listens to them. Our friend Phil is a huge fan. I think I've seen them like 5 or 6 times. So
shout out to Phil. Good job, Phil.
Shout out to Phil.
5 or 6 times?
I have seen them, I think, 5 or 6 times. It's always a good show, but one of the best shows I've ever seen, though, was 311 with Snoop Dogg opening for them. It was insane.
Snoop Dogg opened for 311?
Snoop Dogg opened for 311, and I won't talk about it on the show, but it's probably the most debaucherous activity I've ever been in. So it was a crazy concert.
Personally, the appropriate amount of times to see 311 would be like 0.8.
Yeah, just like
I'd
one.
like to see it once, but I'd probably leave a little bit early.
Like one song at some sort of
I'd beat the crowd out.
Sausage fest, like they play one song.
As soon as they play Amber, Ken's done.
0.8.
0.8.
0.8.
Oh, it's not even a
full
full
song. So I just
song.
leave a little early.
Okay.
No, 0.8 times.
Total.
So I see most of this show and then I leave
I think it's
early.
a full
see.
set of a 311 cover band.
Be in the crowd.
That would be 0.8, I think.
Yes, you don't see the big finale when they bring the drums out. Okay. Well, today is a great day. We're welcoming back one of our friends who's been on the show a bunch of times. So excited to have him back here over in Seattle now. New digs, Savage Superstar on Patreon. JP Adams, Judge JP, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Neal. How you is?
I am doing awesome, and we love having you on the show. Just remind folks about you and what you're up to.
Yeah, so last time I was on the show was in Roanoke, Virginia. The end of 2021, made a move out here to the Seattle area. Lover of all things geeky, nerdy, pop culture-y. Previous host of a podcast called The Geek Bracket. Not back yet. We're going to see if that happens, but if you're looking for a little bit older take on some pop culture trivia stuff, feel free to pop over and listen to that.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a wonderful show. Definitely check it out if you haven't heard it and you want to get up on that geek and pop culture trivia. Well, we appreciate you being here and for putting together a game. Our next special guest coming to us is just another in a line of our wonderful counsel who is going to help protect us for when we eventually get sued from every which way but loose. But thank you for being here, Elie Zwiebel from Denver, Colorado, Not a Robot on Patreon. We appreciate you being here. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Tell us a little bit about you and also the great work that you're doing.
Yeah, sure. Denver, Colorado. It will be difficult to provide counsel to you all since my practice is juvenile civil rights and keeping kids in school and out of prison. Maybe keep my name for the future. Hopefully you won't need it. But yeah, I'm out here in Denver, Colorado, and I feel excited to be on the show. And I hope that for the 311 theme, it's not a beautiful disaster.
Thank you.
If we act like children, does that count? Or do we have to actually be children?
Well, I am a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer, and so I can't provide any advice on that question.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, we have our teams planned out. It's going to be Matt and Elie, and you guys chose a team name. What was that again?
I believe it has to do with Ellie's sleeping pattern or lack of sleep. What's going on over there?
Yeah, so I have an 8-month-old baby who inconsistently sleeps through. Thank you. Inconsistently sleeps through the night and through naps, and so we are, Matt's suggestion,
The Insomnomaniacs.
All right, and then you guys quickly responded.
That
Jeff
to
and Neal.
follow up from there, I guess we should be Bill Clinton plays the sax.
All right. So we have our teams, and as we know, we have multiple rule reads, so sometimes Darren comes and goes and comes and goes sometimes. But today we have Darren, so let's get the rules.
The rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there'll be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated and will have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorized questions. At the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
I'm talking about all the way to the top. Yeah.
And as you said, sometimes he comes and goes, but today he come original. So, yeah, ready to play.
I forgot there were that many 311 songs.
There's a lot. There's many
311
albums.
songs. Then they stopped. That was it.
Anyway, let's go ahead and kick off round 1, which is an ode to the geek bracket. The way my trivia show ran is that we had 9 topics that got covered on every single show, so I took each of those topics and wrote a question in each of them. So, we'll start off with question number 1 in the category of television, called Starry Nights? Late Night got its first full-time puppet host when what character began hosting their own show in 2020 on HBO Max, edited to be, in short, 15-minute bites?
We can lock in over here, Jeff, if you trust me.
Oh, I do. Fully.
So they're locked in right away. What do you know about puppet late night hosts?
I know of 2 puppet late night hosts. One of them for children that's not actually late, right, in terms of Elmo. But I'm thinking because of the clue 15-minute bites that this is probably the Insult Comic Dog.
Oh, Triumph? They brought him back? He's back around? All right.
Perhaps. I don't know if Triumph ever left. He just seems to bounce around between different
hands.
That's a good answer. For me to poop on.
I think Elie said it. I believe it was Elmo. He wore a suit and a tux or something behind a desk, kind of like Jimmy Fallon, and they had those little episodes because we showed them to our niece. So I'm pretty sure it's Elmo.
And I think I misled you a little bit at the end. The hint was actually in the category name of Starry Nights, said like a question mark, because we are definitely taking sunny days in as we head to Sesame Street because the host is Elmo. All right, we'll swing into question number 2 in the category of theater, called What a Drag. Cate Blanchett garnered a 2007 Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress for her work in I'm Not There, a biopic about what musical icon, whose first major work appeared in the 1960s.
So it looks like Neal and Jeff are locked in here. What do you guys say?
Are you familiar with this work? I'm Not
I
There.
am. I remember trying to watch the whole movie.
It's not good.
And just not making it. I think I made it through the Cate Blanchett vignette.
Is that when she plays Bob Dylan? One of the 6 or 7 Bob Dylan?
Robert Zimmerman. Yeah, this is Bob Dylan.
Yep.
Jeff, why don't you pinch my belly like the Bob Dylan, what's the cookie guy where you punch his belly?
The Pillsbury Doughboy?
Yeah, the Bob Dylan Pillsbury Doughboy. Just punch my stomach. All right, we locked in with Bob Dylan.
And Bob Dylan is correct. This is, as Matt alluded to, the film where like there's 5 or 6 different people that play Dylan in this film, and Cate Blanchett is there kind of in a drag role, which is interesting because normally it's the other direction, male to female, for drag roles on film.
She's always really good. And yeah, if you want to go to our store and our website, you can get the Bob Dylan Pillsbury Doughboy, and you can push his tummy.
We have that?
Will.
You're in a mood today, man.
Well, I didn't take the muscle relaxer until I'm going to take it later, so I'm hyped up right now.
Neal's talking faster than Dylan in Subterranean Homesick Blues.
That's perfect speed though for Elie, because as he told us before we start recording, he likes listening to us at 1.5 speed.
All right, we'll swing over to question 3 in literature in the category of Screw You. In C.S. Lewis's The Screwtape Letters, the entire book is framed as letters written between senior demon Screwtape and his junior tempter nephew, stationed on Earth to ensure the damnation of the human he is assigned to. What is this nephew's name? Shared also with the primary ingredient in the creation of absinthe.
Matt, have you ridden the Green Dragon?
Yeah, there was a brief period after I turned 21 where it was like very legal and everywhere, but it wasn't like real absinthe. Very disappointing.
That is it. Yes, let's lock in with that.
All right, so they're locked in. Absinthe. I think we should probably start there. I don't know if you're familiar with the book or story.
No, I've never heard of this book. I'm assuming that the reason that you were frustrated with the absinthe that you had was because it lacked the wormwood.
Correct. Yeah, they don't put that in the American version of absinthe. I don't know if wormwood would be a name. I was thinking anise. I know that that's the main ingredient in absinthe. I was leaning that way because it sounded more like a name than wormwood.
Fair enough. I'll buy it.
All right, so we're going to lock in with anise.
All right.
Well, the demon's name is Screwtape, so I think all bets are off. But
that's fair.
What do you guys have?
Yeah, actually a little bit of a group effort on this one. Didn't think I had anything. Neal had a nice little in here, and we're going to guess wormwood. We feel pretty confident.
2 solid answers. What do we have, JP?
Yeah, sorry, Insomniamaniacs, you split the 50-50 the wrong way. It is wormwood. Again.
Yeah, we're due then. We're going to be 100% in the second round. I could feel it.
Just getting it out of your system early.
Yeah.
All right, number 4.
Headed to 4. In popular literature, this is a comic strip before and after. Please complete the before and after. A traditional British pudding made with beef suet, currants, and a custard sauce on top puts on a yellow trench coat to keep the custard from making itself too soggy as it tracks down criminals.
I think we feel fairly confident here just because I've had this dish not too long ago, and great clue, and we're going to lock in.
I mean, is it Dick Tracy?
Oh, maybe Dick Tracy.
Oh,
Spotted Dick Tracy. Hey,
there we go.
Same time in stereo.
Might want to visit the doctor for that. What do you guys have?
We said the same. We said Spotted Dick Tracy.
And as long as it's a person, you probably don't need to check into the doctor. This is Spotted Dick Tracy.
Great clue there.
There's beef product in that?
Yeah. I mean, it's beef fat, so, like, it's fine.
Oh, it's just still.
Suet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they use a lot of suet in English cooking, traditional English cooking.
Especially in, like, pastries and, well, everything.
That's why their food is world-renowned.
That's right.
All right, what do we have for question 5?
That's a fair read. Continuing to talk about British stuff, let's go to history and talk about royals. With the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, England yet again has a king, Charles III, yet to be officially crowned. Within one, how many different kings of England were there between QE2 and Victoria?
Yeah, Jeff and I went over our notes and waxed poetic about Colin Firth, as Ken mentioned. We're locked in.
All right, so they said Colin Firth, so there's at least one. Then Jeff said there's another one at some point, so there's at least 2. My knowledge of the English monarchy ends with when we put all that tea in the harbor and we decided we didn't have to learn about that anymore.
So which one was that during?
I have no idea at all. How much do you know about English monarchy?
Not much. My English professors from undergrad would be disappointed because I read so many of the Shakespeare plays, but I think all of that was pre-Victorian anyways.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that many.
What about like 5? Let me get between 4 and 6. It seems like a good answer.
Seems like a good solid round number.
Yeah.
I mean, 5. I know, yeah. Building off of them, I mean, I was thinking, Guy Pearce never actually took the throne. Right? He stepped back, and Colin Firth took it. So, yeah. I think 5 sounds like a good round number.
Yeah. I was thinking for some reason of Elizabeth I to Victoria, which I'm not going to fact check it. So if someone wants to email, I think it's 10. I don't know why. I know there are a lot of King Georges in there, but Jeff, what did you say?
Yeah, I had a feeling that there were like 3. I know Queen Elizabeth's father, I think he was Edward the 7th. His brother had abdicated. I think there was an Edward the 6th after Victoria. We just guessed 3.
Edward the Furlong.
Edward
Kind of like that one.
Lord. All right. So your kings between starting from Victoria, passed to Edward the 7th, then to George the 5th, then to Edward the 8th, and to George the 6th. So there are 4. I did give you a buffer of 1 on either side, so both of you are getting points.
Perfect.
All right.
Well, after 5 questions in the first round, it looks like Bill Clinton plays the sax with a perfect score of 50, and trailing just slightly with 30 points, the Insomnomaniacs.
I think the only reason I was even in the ballpark on that one is because I watched The Crown. Other than that, I had no real reason to care.
And you had
a English monarch.
You had a shout out on that one, JP?
Yeah, especially because like I made a bunch of changes based on feedback. So shout out to everybody in the crop on Discord because they helped make this game that we're playing today as good as it was. So shout out to everybody who did both text and live playtests of this game.
Oh, thank you to everyone over there, and just for also being just great folks over at the Discord and always doing stuff. So we appreciate it.
That's going to take us into question 6 in the category of gaming, which is going to be by the bits. 17 corporations, 208 plans, 200 resource cubes in 5 transparent colors, and a game board with a thermometer that runs from -30 to 8 degrees centigrade are among the game pieces in what popular board game, first published in 2016?
Jeff, do you have any idea on this one?
We're going to take a guess based on only one of the clues given, which fits, but yeah, we're locked in. Sorry, Neal.
All right. This doesn't sound familiar to me at all. And you are shaking your head in a manner that suggests you also have no idea.
Yeah, we have 2 board games in my house. They are obscure board games. Well, not that obscure. I mean, Wingspan is pretty popular at this point, but The Art of Chill, Bob Ross board game. And this is neither of those.
No.
Yeah.
The Art of Chill, though, it has a thermometer that goes to -30, so it might be that. But I was going to suggest just coming up with a name, a temperature-related name, because I had nothing here, like the Big Freeze or something like that, just because it sounds silly, and I had nothing else.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, isn't there a board game called like Pandemic? And
there is. I mean,
I don't know the premise. I've never played it.
Well, maybe it's about having plans to survive a deep freeze, and there's 17 corporations who take all your transparent cubes and leave you with nothing. So yeah, we can say Pandemic.
So I went to Jeff and I said, "Is this the board game adaptation of the Lawrence Kasdan film The Big Chill?" And he said, "Get out of here."
Yeah, the only clue I had any insight on, I could think of 2 games with resource cubes. One was Agricola, and the other one, which has transparent ones, is Pandemic. Nothing else fit, but that's what we guessed.
Which one?
Pandemic.
All right, looks like no one's getting points here. Did get there that it does have something to do with the temperature changing. Specifically, you are terraforming a planet in this game. This is terraforming Mars.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
It's a fun little crunchy Euro. I really enjoy it, and I'm not good at it whatsoever. But fantastic game.
I think people should be more open to not being good at things and enjoying them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why we have a
me
podcast.
with this show.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's difficult for me to not be good at something and still enjoy it because I'm so good at everything, Jeff.
Oh, okay. I thought it's just because, like me, you're hyper competitive. So if you didn't win, obviously it's not fun.
All right, we'll jump into question 7, which is in music, and the category is obscure instruments. What, quote, percussion instrument, end quote, features prominently in the finale of Tchaikovsky's 1812 overture, sometimes literally bringing the house down?
Hurdy-gurdy.
I love the sound of the hurdy-gurdy. I go to sleep to that. But we're locked in.
Literally bringing the house down.
Well,
mean,
I think the end has some cannons crashing, so I think that it might be cannons.
that's where my mind went too.
All right, so we're going with the, the percussion instrument. I think they had one in Pearl Jam. I'm not 100% sure. We're gonna say cannons.
When Matt said cannons crashing, I imagined like the little desk toys with the balls that transfer the force, and they're just smashing cannons into each other.
What'd you guys say?
We said cannon as well.
Yeah, I have heard this performed authentically once in my life, and it felt like something was like punching you in the chest every single time one of these cannon blanks fired. It is a cannon.
Was it outside?
It would, praise God, it was outside. I can't imagine someone inside a concert hall firing a cannon.
At the local
I feel
YMCA.
like the air pressure would like blow your eardrums out.
Oof.
The sadistic 1812 overture performed indoors.
Oof. No, hard pass. All right, question 8 is in the category of sports, specifically fantasy sports. In a fantasy league that I play in, my entire roster consists of Robbie Gould of the 49ers, Ryan Suckup of the Buccaneers, and Evan McPherson of the Bengals. What specific kind of fantasy league am I playing in?
So, are you a big sports person?
I used to be a bigger sports person and actually used to be a big fantasy football guy. I can very much recognize football, but I can't place a 3-person roster fantasy league, what that would be.
So, it's got to be, they're all kickers, so this has to be a kickers only league, I would imagine. And if there's 3 on a team and you played a 10-person team, then everyone drafts a kicker. So I'm guessing that this is an all kicker league, which sounds like either the most or the least amount of fun you can possibly have in fantasy sports. If only you got a punter as well. But I guess we'll lock in with all kickers.
Kickers only. I see
Kickers
you guys
only.
wrote.
Yeah, I don't know what it would be called, but those are three kickers.
Yeah, you've got a kickers only jacket. What's the correct answer?
The actual name of the league that I'm in is called Kickers Are Sweet. This is a kickers only league.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I mean, your substitutions would be a lot easier, right?
I would like to be at a high stakes kickers only league, $10,000 buy-in.
That would be really nerve wracking, because the kicks are one of those like kind of crux moments in the.
They do tend to be
so.
the highest scorers on their team, though, so they tend to be very consistently in there somewhere. So
definitely more exciting than the all centers.
All right, moving on to question 9.
Question 9 in the category of science and innovation. The specific category title is Nope, Edison wasn't first. Though Edison and Swan would perfect the commercially viable carbon light bulb, what material was used by Brit scientist Humphrey Davis in 1802 in the first proof of concept incandescent bulb, numbered 78 on the periodic table of elements?
Okay, so they're locked in. We discussed what we know about the periodic table. Wasn't too helpful. I'm pretty sure that this is a metal, perhaps a precious metal. I think that this might be platinum, so we're locking in with platinum.
And originally I was thinking tungsten, but I think that's what they use now. A lot easier to come by than platinum, which I believe is the correct answer.
Yeah, they send a bunch of volts of electricity through a giant thin-stripped bar of platinum for this proof of concept test. Go figure.
And Jeff, I'm sorry about your catalytic converter. I'm just making a bunch of light bulbs.
All right, that's going to take us to the end of round 1 for question 10, which there's always a feature category in normal Geek Bracket episodes, so this is kind of my own feature category called Now Comes the Third. In 1974, De Niro completed it for him and Brando. In 2019, Phoenix did it for himself and Ledger. Name one of the 2 people who joined this list with independent wins in 1962 and 2021.
1974, De Niro plays young Brando.
Mm-hmm.
Godfather 2.
I believe it's winning an Oscar for playing the same character. All right, so we talked over a few different movies, and we have absolutely no idea.
I mean, we could go with your guess about King Richard, right? With Will Smith, and maybe there was some version of King Richard back in '62.
Well, that was King Richard Williams. I don't know. I don't know if they were that prescient to make a future planned movie. But yeah,
that one was called Baby Richard.
Little Richard, I believe. We can just go ahead and go with Will Smith, because you know what, he needs a win at the Oscars, right?
This one was fun to read because it's one of my favorite trivia facts, and the fact that the two people involved in the answer were the latest to do it. But I believe this is the character Anita from West Side Story, and that would be Rita Moreno and Ariana DeBose.
I was wondering if you'd have both of them. This is the remake, the Spielberg remake of West Side Story that got the win for Ariana DeBose in 2021, with Rita Moreno being the originator of the role in 62.
Both fantastic performances.
That'll do it for the first round. Looks like our scores have Bill Clinton Plays the Sax still in the lead with 90 points, slightly widening that gap between Insomnomaniacs with 60.
Before we get to the swing round, just two quick messages. First message, come join us on Patreon. We have two patrons on the show right now, in Elie and JP, who help support the show. If you go there, you can get great things like some of our main feed episodes that are newly released ad-free. You also get a bunch of bonus audio content, a regular Patreon bonus every month, and also a crop drop, which is our Ask Me Anything style episode.
And some physical treasures.
And some physical treasures if you'd like as well. Posters, boxes, stickers, things like that. So yeah, join JP and Elie over at patreon.com/trivialitypodcast. We just passed 500 patrons, which is wonderful. So let's move that goalpost and try to get to 600. And we just appreciate everyone's support, helping us upgrade our equipment and continue to grow the show. And on that note,
the second thing is, I love you.
I love you too. And speaking of growing the show, we actually have a survey that's going out, and many of you might have heard this already in the past few weeks, but our network Airwave is doing a special listener survey to help us get to know you, your interests, and what you think of our show.
Yeah, please support us by checking out the questionnaire at surveymonkey.com/r/airwave. It's a really quick one, and your feedback will help us find sponsors that interest you and improve the show. And there's a place to tell us anything you want at the end.
As our way of saying thank you, you'll be entered to win a $500 Amazon gift card. Again, that's surveymonkey.com/r/airwave, or click the link in our episode notes after you listen to today's show.
And on to the swing round, JP. What do you got for us?
All right, let's swing on into the swing round, and everybody put on your best rockapella voice and sing it with me. Where in the world are Ken, Jeff, Matt, and Neal now? I appreciate any show that recognizes that people have real lives and need to take a break from all the recording sessions. And y'all have taken some really cool trips over the years to do some interesting stuff, or at least they sound cool from the stories that your co-hosts tell. So 5 of these questions are general knowledge questions based on the reasons given as to why some of you were gone from episodes. The other 5 are a 50-50, asking when you traveled further away from the recording studio. Since I'm not exactly sure where in Chicagoland y'all record, I measured all these distances from a well-known downtown landmark using Google Maps. It's called Cloudgate, if your name is Anish Kapoor, or The Bean, if you're ever even slightly less pretentious than him. Let's kick it with question 1. The first recorded absence was episode 17, Triple Jeopardy, where Matt was gone performing an appendectomy on what panda animal? Red or trash variety? Not indicated. Question 2. When was Matt further away? Domestic edition. When Matt tried to become member 361 of a famous choir, or when he tried to move into Oscar's trash can at the Sesame Workshop headquarters. Question 3. In episode 122, Matt decided to do some spelunking while drinking tea dressed as, among other characters, Dalsim. What island nation was he spelunking in, given its nearness to that Street Fighter character's homeland? Question 4. When was Jeff further? when he was touring the site of the oldest nuclear power plant in the US to avoid another Chernobyl, or when he was training at Lush's corporate headquarters to work a booth at a manscaping convention. Question 5. In episode 112, Matt was unable to come in due to drinking too much, and based on the description in the episode, most likely smoker's coughs, a shot made of Jaeger, and what other white ingredient? Question 6. Neal has only 2 documented absences, for going jaguar watching at the zoo, and taking a hot air balloon ride with Matt to get that true-to-life Game of Thrones feeling. So, which is further? The home of the first manned hot air balloon flight, or the home of the largest forest to house wild jaguars? Question 7. Jeff missed a handful of recent episodes helping his puppy acclimate to his new home. According to the AKC, what is the new most popular breed of dog in the US, taking over the Golden Retriever's 3-decade reign in the top spot? Question 8. Y'all are really into Kin using his bare hands, and to be honest, who isn't? When was Kin further away? When he was assisting at the original Maytag factory, fixing washers and dryers, with his bare hands, or at the headquarters of Barney Almond Butter, squeezing almonds into almond butter, with his bare hands? Question 9. One of the more recent absences saw Matt getting trapped in Jumanji. Though the Caldecott-winning book came first, which was made next? The board game or the movie? And question 10. When was Matt further away? International edition. When he was watching footy at the home of the Collingwood Magpies, or when he was trying to break a consecutive pogo sticking record along the Great Wall of China?
These sound really great when read back to back. We appreciate your spelunking yourself into our old episodes to find these, JP.
Yeah, your steadfast attention to our terrible lore.
Yeah, but we will now take a quick break and see what these guys can come up with.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
What will I become? Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
All right, we are back with all of our answers. Let's get the clues one more time, and we'll give the answers, see how everybody did.
All right, question number 1. The first recorded absence was episode 17, Triple Jeopardy, where Matt was gone performing an appendectomy on what panda animal, red or trash variety, not indicated?
We guessed raccoon.
Yes, I remember this distinctly. It was very complicated, and it was a raccoon.
Yeah, red pandas are raccoons. Who would have thought it? Raccoon is correct there. Question 2. Matt's Travel Domestic Edition. When Matt tried to become member 361 of a famous choir, or when he tried to move into Oscar's trash can at the Sesame Workshop headquarters.
Yeah, we believe this was a reference to the Mormon tabernacle.
Tabernacle.
The Tacklebacks.
The tabernacle. Anyway, we said it was, Salt Lake City or Utah. We said that was the farther.
Yeah, we also thought it might have been the Mormon Tabernacle, but we thought that the Sesame Street Workshop might have been in LA, so we went with the workshop.
And Sesame Workshop, I'm sorry, is in New York City. That's only 760 miles away from Chicago. You are correct. The Mormon Tabernacle Choir is based out of Salt Lake City, and that is 1.2 thousand miles away. So Tabernacle Choir is the correct answer. Question 3. Matt decided to do some spelunking while drinking tea dressed as, among other characters, Dulcim. What island nation was he spelunking in, given its nearness to the Street Fighter character's homeland?
JP, do you remember who said this one? Was it me?
I don't.
Because these guys don't know who Dulcim is.
I don't remember who did this specific read. I made notes on that in one of my spreadsheets, but I don't remember who made this read. But there were a bunch of Street Fighter costumes that came out in this read, I recall correctly, and I had to like take everyone out except Dalsim because the answer doesn't make sense otherwise.
What do you guys have?
We guessed the Philippines. We don't remember this at all, and I never really played Street Fighter, so.
Yeah, you would think I would remember better having done it, but I don't, so we said Sri Lanka.
And Dalsim is from India, and so that means that Sri Lanka is the correct answer.
Well done.
Points to the Insomnomaniacs.
It makes sense when you hear it because drinking tea in Sri Lanka just sounds right. As Ken
Well,
said.
spelunking in Sri Lanka has
Exactly.
a nice alliterative quality. So.
Probably should have thought about that for all these questions. It would have helped.
Yeah, we're not smart. We just try to be clever.
Question 4. When was Jeff further away, touring the oldest nuclear power plant in the U.S. to avoid another Chernobyl, or when he was training at Lush's corporate headquarters to work a booth at a manscaping convention?
We just went Lush on this one.
Yeah, I remember it fondly.
Yeah.
We thought that the nuclear power plant would be the further away.
All right. The oldest nuclear power plant site is 9 Mile Point in New York. But Lush is based out of Poole, UK, so that is definitely going to be the further one. Points to Bill Clinton, plays the sax.
Imaginary points to Ken for knowing it was in the UK. Once we locked in, he was like, I think it's in the UK.
I'm a fan of the Lush.
Yeah, they lovely people, and their soaps are fantastic. Question 5. Matt was unable to come in due to drinking too many smoker's coughs, a shot made of Jaeger, and what other ingredient?
Yeah, this one was tough. We had no idea. We just thought, what makes you cough? Phlegm. And we thought maybe it's milk. So that's what we said.
We thought that there might have been milk. It's too easy of an answer. There's a lot of milk around. So we thought maybe they're squeezing mayonnaise in there. We said mayonnaise.
Oh. We thought our answer sounded gross.
Well, it makes sense when you realize this episode came out on May 5th, which is Cinco de Mayo. Mayonnaise is the correct answer.
Gross.
Ew.
Is it supposed to be like disgusting? Like a disgusting shot challenge?
Oh, it's 100% like a frat bro shot that you like take as a challenge. Like no
Cement
one actually
mixer.
goes and orders the shot. Question number 6. Neal's 2 documented absences, which is further the first manned hot air balloon flight, or the home of the largest forest to house wild jaguars.
Yeah, Jeff was saying he thought maybe the manned balloon was somewhere in Europe, and we think the Jaguar was South America, hopefully. So we said hot air balloon.
Yeah, we had the exact same conversation, and we said hot air balloon.
Yeah, this is the closest of all the distance-based questions. The outer edge of the rainforest barely hits 4,000 miles away, but the hot air balloon is in Europe. It's in France specifically, and the specific town in France is 4.3 thousand miles away. So hot air balloon is correct. Points to both teams.
Hot air balloons do sound like some French crap, to be honest.
Because you know they have like wine and cheese in there and crackers and stuff.
Question 7. According to the AKC, what is the new most popular breed of dog in the U.S.? An ode to Jeff taking some time off to be with his new puppy.
We have no idea. Just guessed one that Neal and I think we see everywhere all the time, all at once. We said golden doodles.
We think that this is also some French crap, and we said French bulldog.
It is indeed some French crap. Points to the Insomnomaniacs. It is specifically the French bulldog.
Apologies to Neal. I hate them so much, I just repressed that was true.
Those were our 2 guesses, though. We were close, I think. That was good.
All right, let's get into question 8, and Ken using his bare hands at either the original Maytag factory or the headquarters of Barney Almond Butter.
Feel these calluses, Jeff. Feel them.
Oh, I remember this reference now because I had Barney almond butter at the time in my cabinet. That's why. That's where it came from. Anyway, we said that the almond butter was farter. Oh my God, I can't speak. Hello, mutter. Hello, fodder. We said the almond butter.
Accent.
It's definitely relaxing now. We said the almond butter.
Yeah, we had no idea where the almond butter was. Could be, on the other side of Ravenswood. Could be in Canada. So we went with the Maytag factory.
Maytag factory, depending on how you interpret the wording on this question, is either in Iowa or Michigan. Since it's now Maytag is now under the Whirlpool umbrella, but Barney's is in Fresno, so regardless of which of those interpretations you took, Barney's almond butter is the correct answer here for Bill Clinton Plays the Sax.
Nice. Neal was like, Maytag sounds Midwest and almond butter sounds California, so
I don't know where
dead on.
I don't know where all these things are, but Neal is way past Camp Granada at this point.
Question 9. Matt got trapped in Jumanji, but which came second, the board game or the movie?
This one we remember as kids being a marketing ploy, so we said the movie was first and then the board game came.
I had thought that the original movie had Mattel as potentially a producer or some kind of credit on the movie, so we thought the board game came first and then the movie, and then a board game based on the movie, based on the board game, based on the book.
I'm literally trying to follow the Inception line there that just came from Matt. Unfortunately, Matt, your memory is a little bit off. The board game was a licensed tie-in with the film. It was not produced before, so film is the correct answer there for the saxophones. And question 10, Matt's Traveled International Edition. Watching footy at the home of the Collingwood Magpies or trying to break a consecutive pogo sticking record along the Great Wall of China?
Yeah, this one we thought was in Melbourne with the Magpies, so that's what we went with.
Agreed. We thought the Collingwood Magpies were further away.
And it's all about that tilt from China to Australia for this one. Of the different sections of the Great Wall, the furthest away I could get was 6.5K, and for Melbourne, it was 9.6. So Melbourne for the Collingwood Magpies is correct.
Appreciate JP's correct pronunciation.
Melbourne.
Can't believe Neal blew that one, but
Well, I'm having trouble just speaking in general. So.
I get it.
I was thinking Melbourne, but
Melbourne.
I didn't. It didn't come out correctly.
After the swing round, looks like the rich get just slightly richer with 125 for Bill Clinton Plays the Sax. Insomniacs just losing a 5-point ground there, 90 points.
All right, that's going to take us into round 2, which is a stream of consciousness round. All of the questions lead into the next question, or answers lead into the next question. Basically, everything is one giant interconnected stream of consciousness. We're going to kick off question number 1 in Thus Begins the Chain. The latest EGOT winner is Viola Davis, who achieved the title in 2023 with a Grammy win for the audiobook of her biography, Without Me. The first woman of color to win an EGOT is the aforementioned Rita Moreno. What black woman came after Moreno, completing her award in 2002 and becoming the first black EGOT winner?
Looks like the fellows in the studio are locked in. So Matt and Elie, up to you guys.
I have a strong feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and that strong feeling is Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, I do recall around that time that's coming up. I think she won the Tony last. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was the Tony, and we could definitely lock in Whoopi Goldberg.
Neal had a bit of a premonition earlier when he was saying farters. We said Whoopi Goldberg.
And I probably should have put in what that last award was for, and I think the reason I didn't clue it was because I think it's the Daytime Emmy for The View that was her last award. Could be wrong there, but I will fact check that later. However, Whoopi Goldberg is the correct answer here. All right, question 2 is in the category of apologies to the guys. Speaking of Whoopi, what animated series did she and Next Gen alum LeVar Burton star in from 1990 to 1992? Burton would continue with the series until its in 96, with all episodes debuting on Ted Turner's basic cable channel TBS before hitting other syndicated sources.
Matt looks angry.
I'm taking this question down to 0.
Yeah, we're gonna combine our powers over here and lock in.
Are you picking up what all these references are? This is Triviality favorite Captain Planet. I believe LeVar Burton was Captain Planet, and I think originally they wanted Tom Cruise. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Just listen to any of our episodes, you'll hear about it. We said Captain Planet.
Yep, we said Captain Planet as well.
Yeah, LeVar Burton was Kwame, actually. Whoopi Goldberg was Guinan, 90 to 92. And when I wrote this question, this was before you guys got this question about something about Captain Planet for, I swear it felt like 2 months straight.
I think it was, yeah. And no one knew either. It wasn't, anyone's fault. It just kept coming.
Question 3 is going to be in the category of 90s wrestling. Speaking of Ted Turner stuff, who, in 2001, was the final wrestler to hold the title of WCW World Heavyweight Champion and carry the title into the WWF merger? He was the first and only black athlete to hold the title, as well as a 2-time WWE Hall of Fame inductee.
Can you dig this question, Ellie? Do you understand?
I know how much you guys love wrestling, and this is a blind spot on my radar, so...
This is the five-time WCW champion, Booker T.
We agree. We think this is Booker T, who's definitely gotten a lot better on the mic and has refrained from saying certain words on camera.
Indeed, this is Booker T. Good job, both teams. All right, let's go over to question 4 in the category of Come Fly With Me. Speaking of Booker T Washington helped found what historic black college or university in Alabama in 1881? This institution went on to host Professor Washington Carver's research, starting in 1896.
Ooh. Do you have any strong opinions on this one?
I have a strong opinion.
Yes.
Given the question theme, Come Fly With Me, I would think that would point us in the direction of the Tuskegee Airmen from Tuskegee. So that would be
Yeah, I just went through there's a civil rights exhibit at this museum we went to in Philadelphia a few weeks ago. And I do remember this fact, and I believe you're 100% correct in Tuskegee.
We had a very similar conversation, and we're hoping it is also Tuskegee.
Come Fly With Me was a hint trying to get you there to the Tuskegee Airmen. Tuskegee Institute or Tuskegee University is correct. Well done, both teams.
Well done, yeah.
Great hint.
All right, we'll swing to question 5 in the category of TV terms. Speaking of George Washington Carver, Peanuts is a comic strip by Charles M. Schulz featuring many families of characters throughout its strips, such as Charlie Brown and Sally Brown, Snoopy, and his brother Spike, and the Van Pelts, Linus, Lucy, and what other youngest sibling who would be most apropos in name to strips of the series seen in print after the year 2000?
All right. Well, you had a strong feeling on the last one. How about this one?
Let's just say I have a weak feeling on this one.
No.
I can't quite find it. Something in print after the year 2000, TV terms. Don't think they would be so cruel as to name their kid Millennial.
Yeah. Why?
Millennial Ben Pelt.
Yeah.
Rerun? Would it be Rerun?
Like the Fat Albert character? Is that Rerun?
I mean, TV terms?
Yeah, I guess.
Rerun, sure.
All right, we said Rerun.
So initially I thought Matt was going to lock in with ESPN commentator Scott Van Pelt, but just for his sports love. But yeah, we got the clue at the end here. It's a really well-written question, as all of these have been. And we thought if they were reprinted, that must be a rerun, and that's what we said.
Yeah, Insomniamaniacs, you got there right at the end. The Van Pelt family is Linus, Lucy, and Rerun. Well-reasoned, both teams.
That does it for the first half of the second round. Brings the scores to 140 for the Insomniamaniacs, and Bill Clinton plays the sax at 175. Perfect first half for both teams.
All right, let's swing to question 6 for actual TV stuff. Speaking of reruns, according to Nielsen, what police procedural was the most streamed series of 2022, only to be available in reruns? NCIS moved back to the top spot of the list in this year, but this series was the one at the top in 2021, its final season.
All right, looks like the gentlemen in the studio are locked in. What do you have?
Oh boy. my first thought was, I don't know when these shows end, because you're all of a sudden you'll be watching a football game and you'll find out Blue Bloods is still on TV and you don't know how that happened. So some of these shows, they last a very long time. My first thought was actually Criminal Minds. What do you think about Criminal Minds?
Sure. Sounds great.
I know that it's something that I would just leave on running all the time and fall asleep to and have very strange dreams afterwards. But I think it's very popular, and people love that show. So
it's not strange. Shamar Moore is a man whose hands I wouldn't mind being wrapped up in.
All right, we need Shamar less of that, actually.
He'll squeeze you like an almond.
What do you have in the studio here?
Like NKOTB, Blue Bloods Never Going Away. We had the same feeling. We thought it was a CBS show because NCIS, if that's the top one, it's got to be another CBS property. We said Criminal Minds.
And Criminal Minds is correct. After I wrote this question, also found out they have revived this series again for Paramount Plus only distribution.
Oh.
Why?
Streaming service that everyone has.
Basically.
Plus.
All right, let's take that criminal stuff into question number 7, popular since the 1700s. Speaking of criminals, what alliterative 2-word phrase was given to the illegal action taken in the early 1900s as a result of the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution?
The 18th Amendment is prohibition.
Prohibition. The first thing that came to my mind, was teetotaler, but I thought that was one word. And I think that's about like not drinking, so I don't know how that would be the illegal.
Maybe that it's evolved to mean not drinking, but it used to be sneaking, because otherwise it's like moonshine
Sneaky
making.
drinking?
Yeah. Yeah. Booze
Some sneaky
bringing,
drinking?
alcohol, something.
Hooch hawkering.
Hooch hawkers. That's a great name. Booze bootleggers. But we don't. We don't have
Baron.
The beer baron. Yeah. But you said teetotaler.
Teetotailing. Yeah.
Yeah, thinking that potentially at the time maybe it meant pretending you're drinking not alcohol but are, and it's turned into being someone who doesn't drink. So let's lock in with that. It's fine. It's a phrase.
It's funny you should say that, because teetotaler was the only thing I wrote down after this, because I was like, well, that's like the opposite, right, Neal, of what they did during Prohibition? But what do we go with?
We just said you were a wet willy.
Neat. Double stumper on this one. This is a little alliterative, and it is more common than I think where y'all were going. This is rum running.
Oh,
That was my guess.
Rum runner.
Rum runner. All right, well, we will pick up that bottle of Captain Morgan and jump into question 8, which is in mixology. Speaking of rum, what cocktail is traditionally made of rum as the primary spirit, mixed with lime and or lemon juice, passion fruit puree, and is commonly associated with a Louisiana city?
The passion fruit puree, the lime, the rum, they're base ingredients of a hurricane, which I know is based out of New Orleans. I can't think of a city in Louisiana outside of Baton Rouge and New Orleans that would have a drink named after it.
Yeah, I can't either. And the only drink I can think associated closely with a city in Louisiana would be a Sazerac. And that's not the answer here.
That's not it?
No, this isn't it.
That ain't it. That's a shame.
That ain't it.
I guess let's just go with a hurricane. Maybe there's a hurricane, Louisiana.
It's not
there's
a
hurricanes in
Shreveport.
Louisiana, so we'll lock in.
We had the exact same conversation about the Sazerac, but we knew that was a little bit more of a, I don't even know what you'd call it, a fancy drink. So we said it was the drink that a movie was made with Denzel Washington. We said the Hurricane.
And it's just associated with New Orleans. It's not named after the city itself. Hurricane is the correct answer.
Ooh.
All
Just
right.
overthought it then.
We sure did.
Way overthought, but hey, y'all got there. That's what's important. Let's take that hurricane into question number 9 and rock you like a hurricane. Speaking of hurricanes, Hurricane Irene destroyed much of the northeast coastline in its wake in 2011, including a residence in Red Bank, New Jersey, that held the masters for all of Skid Row's albums. What Canadian frontman of the band was able to recover his solo and bandmates' masters from the wreckage of this storm?
Canadian frontman of the band. I've seen this man on a lot of I Love the 80s, and he does a lot of work with on those like documentaries about hair metal. He's always in these, and I'm pretty sure that it is the composer Sebastian Bach.
Yeah, I think I guess he did some composing, but that one I think that you mentioned is German, but we agree.
Yeah, we said Gilmore Girls star Sebastian Bach.
I mean, that is a take. And also, is I Love the 80s still on television at this point?
No way.
I hope not. Good. I mean,
streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus with Criminal Minds.
Oh, it's true, because VH1 is under the Paramount Plus umbrella. Let's get out of this question as fast as possible. Sebastian Bach is correct. Good job, both teams. And that is going to take us to question 10, full circle. Speaking of Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach published a composition in 1741 consisting of a simple aria and 30 additional pieces based on said aria, all played on harpsichord. What is the commonly given name for BWV 988?
So Jeff and I have been discussing what this could be, and the great thing about JP's game is there's been so many clues, and I've been trying to listen to the categories, and he said full circle, which makes me think maybe this is in reference to question 1. And I don't think it has the word whoopee in it at all, but is it possible that the name has Goldberg in it? And I can't think of a way to say Goldberg in a Bachian way. Like there's musical terms like movements or something, so maybe like the Goldberg movements.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I was thinking of the circle. There's like a circle movement, right? But I thought that was whoever did the Flight of the Valkyries.
Oh, right.
Wagner.
Ring cycle. A ring cycle. Yeah, it's the circle. I was thinking of the ring cycle, but yeah, I don't know. I think that we can go with that.
All right, it's a complete guess, but we're just going to say the Goldberg movements.
Yeah. My dad listened to a lot of classical in the car driving me around when I did, and I hated it. But along the lines of you're all thinking in the full circle clue, getting back to Whoopi Goldberg, I believe this is the Goldberg Variations.
And when you are taking a single line of music and then changing it up 30 different ways, it is a theme and variation known as the Goldberg Variations. Points for the Insomniacs.
Wow.
Well done.
Great job. Because I had nothing.
That will conclude regulation. Looks like we have 205 for Bill Clinton Plays the Sax, and right behind with 180 is the Insomnomaniacs. So it's going to be a toss-up in the final round, depending on the wagers.
All right, for the final round, I just have 5 questions for you. Who, what, where, when, and why? Now, because those questions don't actually give you any into what the questions are, here are the categories. Who is a television question? What is a music question? Where is a fashion question? When is a sports question? And why is a popular literature question?
The wagers are now in. Bill Clinton team is pushing in. Insomnomaniacs doing various bets, which we will say during the questions, but let's have them.
All right, question 1 in the category of who. Who is a common Chinese surname? Kelly Hu is a long-running supporting actress in many series, including a short-lived Sammo Hung and Arsenio Hall series from the late 90s entitled What?, referring to their use of Hapkido to enforce the codes of their jurisdiction. Question 2, in the category of What?, Lil Jong's 2013 banger, Turn Down for What?, was mixed by what sinister French DJ? This DJ's other notable hits include Taki Taki with Selena Gomez and Cardi B, and The Middle with Bipolar Sunshine. Question 3. In Where? Before being near destroyed by Kim Kardashian at a recent Met Gala, Marilyn Monroe's famous Happy Birthday, Mr. President dress was considered one of the world's most expensive garments, going for $1.26 million in auction in 1999. Who was the designer of this immaculate dress, who would also go on to create iconic looks for Carol Burnett, a look she saw in the window and just had to have, and Cher, yes, that Oscars red carpet dress. Question 4. With the founding of the Super Bowl in 1969, the last of the 4 major North American sports leagues had its major seasoned-in championship established. Of these 4 leagues, which team holds the team with the most championship wins since 1970? And question 5 in the category of Why. Why the Last Man, an answer from my last episode, has now been adapted as a series on FX. It was great, until they canceled it after 1 season. Brian K. Vaughan, the author of the original Y comic series, also saw another of his books befall a similar fate when What Amazon Prime adaptation featuring a diverse, young, female-led cast was canceled in 2022 after its debut season.
But not to worry because they can both be seen soon on Paramount Plus. And those are the questions. We'll be right back for our answers. We have all of our answers in, and let's get a recap of the questions, and they can give their answers. For this first question, both teams wagered 30.
All right. Question 1 was who in the category of television, asking for the short-lived Sammo Hung and Arsenio Hall series from the late 90s that also starred supporting actress Kelly Hu. Let's go to the Insomniamaniacs first.
Yeah, we wagered 30 on this show that paired well with Nash Bridges, the Wish.com Rush Hour. Pretty sure it's called Martial Law.
Yep, the only Sammo Hung show I could think of was Martial Law, and that's what we went with as well.
And if you're using Hapkido to enforce the codes of your jurisdiction, you might be enforcing martial law. That is correct. And Matt also pulled the reference, this started as a Nash Bridges question, but then I realized Kelly Hu was only on 1 entire season of the series, so I switched to something she was on for the entire run of.
All right, question 2. Again, both teams going 30.
Question 2 is asking for the DJ behind Lil Jon's banger Turn Down for What, also doing Taki Taki and The Middle. We'll jump to Bill Clinton Plays the Sax first.
We had the discussion on this question based on the Daniels, who won the Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once. They directed this music video, and when they were talking about it during the press tour, we remember it saying DJ Snake and Lil Jon, so that's our guess.
Yeah. My first year of law school, the night before one of my first finals, I was living next to a frat house, and it happened to be May 4th. And so at 2 a.m. on Cinco de Mayo, my neighbors blasted Turn Down for What. And so I have a little bit of trauma-induced memory on this one. We went with DJ Snake.
Yeah, and I wrote this question well before the Daniels started doing all the touring for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And yeah, DJ Snake is much more front of mind for people right now because of that.
All right, question 3, Insomniamaniacs wagering 10, 30 for Bill Clinton.
All right, and this where question was a fashion question about the designer of the Happy Birthday, Mr. President dress. Also doing iconic looks for Carol Burnett and Cher. Insomniamaniacs, what you got?
Not a lot. This is a person that has spanned a very long time, apparently. So we just picked someone we knew was making clothes for a long time and said Coco Chanel.
Shout out to my mom, who's the biggest Marilyn Monroe fan that I know and had me grow up on Marilyn Monroe. This would be the Cher dress with the poofy black feathers and weird sequins at the Oscars, or the famous Marilyn Monroe dress by Bob Mackie is what we put in.
Yeah, and Bob Mackie did a lot of costume design work for the Carol Burnett show as well. So Bob Mackie is the correct answer there. Points for Bill Clinton Plays the Sax.
Question 4, 30 points for each team.
And this was a question about the league that held the team with the most championship wins since 1970. Obviously, you don't want to go back further than that because 1969 was the establishment of the Super Bowl, so that keeps it fair for all of the leagues. We will go to Bill Clinton plays the sax first.
Yeah, we didn't think it was the NFL. Steelers and Patriots, we think, had 6 total. So we went to a league that has much more kind of runs in their divisions. We think it's the NBA.
Yeah, we wagered 30 on this, and we're pretty sure that this is the NBA, and I'm 99% sure it's the Lakers.
All right, here are the stats by league. The NFL is 6, either the Patriots or the Steelers. Take your choice there. For the MLB, it's 7 with the Yankees. NHL is 8 with the Montreal Canadiens. And as y'all guessed, it is the NBA with 12 for the Lakers. So points to both teams there.
And question 5, 24 Insomnomaniacs and 34 Bill Clinton plays the sax.
And this question was asking about the 2022 canceled series with a young, diverse female cast that also was written by the writer of Y the Last Man, Brian K. Vaughan. Insomnomaniacs.
Yeah, I'm an Ollie Wong fan, so I know she's credited on this show. We went with Paper Girls.
Yeah, saw it promoted a lot on Prime. Didn't watch it, which is a shame because I know Brian K. Vaughan wrote for Lost, one of my favorite shows of all time. We said Paper Girls.
And this is probably one of my favorite Image series to come out of the 2010s. Paper Girls is a fantastic series, and I'm sad we're not going to see the full run on screen. But good lord, get out there, get the trade paperbacks. Series is fantastic.
And that will conclude today's game. We have a very respectable score at the Insomnomaniacs with 280, but with a very punishing 355. Bill Clinton plays the sax. Bill Clinton is the cream of the crop.
The cream of the crop.
Actually, I think Neal's the cream of the crop since he carried me the whole game.
It's the first time I felt like decent mentally during a game, so I credit
the
it
first time in 311 episodes.
Basically, yeah. So I credit JP and the wonderfully worded questions for helping me feel my best today. I recognize his game, as Shaq would say.
I try to do what I can. Glad y'all enjoyed the set. It definitely played a lot better than my first hosting gig, so I'm glad that the questions played a lot better than that first set did.
Yeah, and great work from Elie, too, pulling a lot of those tough questions.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I did my best to do my Slumdog Millionaire and let my autobiography drive me.
Any final shout-outs for you?
Yeah, I would love to shout out anyone who's ever been on my regular trivia team, Alien versus Predator versus Brown versus Board of Education. It's had a few iterations over the years.
That was there the whole time.
And when I lived in Chicago, I would do trivia with a couple of my friends over at the Wheelhouse when it was the Wheelhouse on Ashland. That was, I don't know, maybe 3 bars ago from what it is now. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't shout out my wife, Laura. She was watching our baby Ari while I was here hanging out with you guys. So thank you so much. I've been listening to you since, I believe, Geek Bowl in Vegas when you all had your ad up there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, really appreciate the content you all are putting out every week. And thanks for having me.
And your great performance was partially thanks to JP's great questions. So thanks again to JP. Any final shout outs for you?
Yeah, I'll reiterate one of the shout-outs that I gave earlier, which was to all of the people who helped me test this over on the crops. Thank you to everybody who either did text or live test, and I'll give the same shout-out I gave in my last episode. Support small local businesses. People are still doing a little bit of recovery after everything that's been going on, but even beyond that, Patreon is where a lot of small independent creators are getting most of their support right now, and there are a lot of people who have Patreons that could use your support. Guys over here at Triviality are one group that I support, but there's lots of independent artists, musicians, trivia writers that you can support over there. Find something that you're passionate about and support a creator who's making content that you personally enjoy.
Very true, and thank you, JP,
for the shout out. That's great.
Yeah. And we couldn't do it without Airwave Media. They have such fine shows as Who Did What Now? Wake Me Up, and The Secret History of Hollywood.
Yeah, you can go to airwavemedia.com to check out all of those shows. And we just had so much fun today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Also, if you'd like to take that survey again, Ken, where can they find it?
Yep, surveymonkey.com/r/airwave, and the link is in the show notes.
Awesome. Well, we leave you with some parting words today from a poet known as S.A. Martinez. Oh, no, S.A. Martinez.
Oh, okay.
As he says in his poem titled Down, light on my side as my ego becomes a funky child with some words on my tongue. Be the intake of breath and my mouth gets loose, so while I scatter my spit, I dream of juice. Have you ever made out in a dark hallway, displayed a kiss that made the day, or say, play a track from your record collection? It's your mix.
Blah, 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 down, down.
Wow, Neal's voice rings like a bell. Anyway.
Well, yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you to JP, to Elie, Matt, Jeff, and Ken. My name is Neal, and that was Triviality.